So, good morning everyone. We are going to talk about today listening part 4. Here you can see some tips and suggestions about this part 4. And by the way, we did some examples of this part 4, yes, together. So here, mastering IELTS listening part 4, the academic challenge. Nowadays, we will do the academic part like listening, yes. So here, understanding the part 4, that is a monologue. As you can see, there was just one person who gives information about one topic. Here, this is the final section of IELTS listening test. This is the question will be from 31 to 40. As we know, you will hear a single speaker, a monologue delivering an academic lecture or presentation. Let's see. So, here academic lectures on these different kinds of topics like science, history, like what else? Environmental, like this. Here we can see, I think it's not visible for you, I will read examples from practice tests include. For example, time perspectives and the impact on behavior, for example, or some history of instruments. And the previous lesson we did some about living in the space, yes? Yes. The topic was. And this is related to astronomy like that. And science of healthy soil and its importance. As you can see, we can face different kinds of topics in this part. And this is here. What should we do here in this part 4? All the questions will be completion. What should we complete here? For example, summaries, tables, notes, or diagrams we have to complete during listening. And here, what else? And it's written here multiple choice, but mostly we do not come across multiple choice questions in this part. And also, next part here, before prepare for listening, what should we do? All the students do underlining the keywords before listening, and they ask time for this. In this IELTS listening part test, where you will be given 1 minute to check, to see the questions before listening. Read the instructions carefully. This is one of the most important. Nowadays, we just come across, write one word and or a number. Here, just you write one word, not numbers, mostly. Write one word and number. We come across in the section 1, yes? Or part 1 in the IELTS listening test. So, for example, sometimes we can see write no more than 2 words. Sometimes. It rarely happens. And next, scan the questions, identify keywords, and predict the type of information that you need to listen for. What does this mean? Here, for example, if you see an article like AN, that means you know you have to write a noun, or you should find out what is asked, what you are asking for to write here. For example, adjective, adverbs, like this. Mostly, in most cases, we write here nouns. And the intention, it is a singular or plural, and also countable for uncountable noun. Here, one of the most important things here, the answers mostly are paraphrased, and also they are stressed. You know, stress? Yes? And anticipate the topic based on the questions. Try to guess the subject of the topic. I think it's not difficult for you. You can find the topics. And also, the answers mostly related to this topic. For example, geography, science, physics, everything. Here, active listening. Focus on the speaker. What does this mean here? Focus on the speaker. For example, while listening, you shouldn't think other things. If you miss one question, maybe sometimes most students miss the other questions also. Don't panic at the time. One question is a normal thing. You can guess after listening, just the correct answer, not or just the word you can write. But pay attention to the others also. Don't get panicked here. Here, listen for keywords and synonyms. As I mentioned here, the answers will often be paraphrased. For example, they use like different structures or synonyms for this. What else? Follow the structure here. Follow the structure. You know this structure. And also in lectures, as you can see, lectures usually have a logical flow, like introduction, main body, and conclusion also. Firstly, at the beginning of her or his speech, they start like firstly, secondly, at the beginning, like main parts also. In addition to this, and final, you can see the conclusion. Finally, as a result, to sum up, they will say. And what else here? What we have? Effective note taking. Do you take notes while listening? No. Nobody. Nobody.
It takes time.
Takes time.
When it's so lazy.
For example, while listening, we how to say write the incorrect answer. Yes. Then we'll cross it out. Mostly it happens in like section 1 because we have to write the distractor. And then we'll think about it and we'll see the questions again. And then we'll omit the distractor, we'll write the correct answer. Here, jot down keyword terms and ideas. Don't try to write everything. Jot down. What does it mean? Jot down to write something quickly. And also, it shouldn't take time. Very quickly you should write. And also, don't try to write everything. But you said that you don't write anything, yes? Use abbreviations and symbols. For example, you know abbreviation, like shortened form of words. Why do we need abbreviations? Because it, how to say, it helps you to save your time. Like instead of saying the United States of America, you say the USA, and also you have your own abbreviations. Yes? Who has? Nobody? Sometimes we, we abbreviate the words with numbers also. Yes?
Later.
Late.
Later.
Late are? Later. How do you abbreviate this?
L, number 8.
And R? Yes. Or we can say late. Yes, L8. We can see. And here, speed up your note taking. Focus on the information needed for the question. Prioritize answers for completed task. Then focusing we have mentioned here. Here, answering and reviewing. We have to write answers on the question paper. As when I gave the tasks also part 4, I told you that you can write on the paper, but then your answers should be in the clear and structured way at the end of this test. And here, you have time to transfer them later. Maybe you will be given like 10 minutes, or it's up to the questions. When I think I gave you 5 minutes, because our task was 21 to 40 questions. There were 20 questions. In 5 minutes, we can transfer our answers to the answer sheet. And use the 10-minute answer time wisely. Check spelling and wordings. And also, you should pay attention with spelling. You know spelling? Because sometimes we miss one letter or misuse in other letters. For example, sometimes it is difficult to write and you will feel like doubtly. For example, when you write like continuous, you will think you will, misuse the order of these words. Continuous. And this, can you spell it? Continuous.
C-O-N-T-I-N-O-U-S.
Firstly, that is not correct. Budira continues. Is it difficult? U-O-U-S. Is that correct? That is correct. And don't leave blanks, make an educated guess if unsure. Don't miss blanks. Okay. When I took the IELTS test last year, I missed it to...
Section 4. You will hear a lecturer talking about the history of the electric guitar. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Pause the recording for 1 minute.
Firstly, you have to look through the instruction. What is written? Write no more than 2 words for each answer. 2 words here, and underline the keywords. You have a minute. You have 1 minute to check the questions.
Answer questions 31 to 40.
During today's lecture in this series about the history of popular music, I'm going to look at the different stages the electric guitar went through before we ended up with the instrument we know so well today. The driving force behind the invention of the electric guitar was simply the search for a louder sound. In the late 1890s, Orville Gibson, founder of the Gibson Mandolin Guitar Manufacturing Company, designed a guitar with an arched or curved top, as is found on a violin. This made it both stronger and louder than earlier designs, but it was still hard to hear amongst other louder instruments. During the 1920s, with the beginnings of big band music, commercial radio, and the rise of the recording industry, the need to increase the volume of the guitar became even more important. Around 1925, John Dapiera came up with a solution. He designed a guitar known as the National Guitar with a metal body which had metal resonating cones built into the top. It produced a brash tone which became popular with guitarists who played blues, but was unsuitable for many other types of music. Another way of increasing the volume was thought of in the 1930s. The C.F. Martin Company became known for its Dreadnought, a large, flat-top acoustic guitar that used steel strings instead of the traditional gut ones. It was widely imitated by other makers. These mechanical fixes helped, but only up to a point. So guitarists began to look at the possibilities offered by the new field of electronic amplification. What guitar players needed was a way to separate the guitar's sound and boost it in isolation from the rest of the band or the surroundings. Guitar makers and players began experimenting with electrical pickups, which are the main means of amplification used today. The first successful one was invented in 1931 by George Beecham. He introduced to the market a guitar known as the frying pan because the playing area consisted of a small round disc. The guitar was hollow and was made of aluminum and steel. He amplified the sound by using a pair of horseshoe-shaped magnets. It was the first commercially successful electric guitar. So by the mid-1930s, an entirely new kind of sound was born. Yet along with its benefits, the new technology brought problems. The traditional hollow body of a guitar caused distortion and feedback when combined with electromagnetic pickups. Musicians and manufacturers realized that a new kind of guitar should be designed from scratch with amplification in mind. In 1935, Adolf Rickenbacker produced a guitar which took his name, the Rickenbacker Electro Spanish. It was the first guitar produced in plastic, which because of its weight, vibrated less readily than wood. It eliminated the problems of earlier versions which were plagued by acoustic feedback. The Electro Spanish had its own problems, however, because it was very heavy, smaller than other guitars of the period, and was quite awkward to play. Developments continued, and in 1941, Les Paul made a guitar which he called the Log, and true to its name, it was totally solid. All previous guitars had been hollow or partly hollow. It looked slightly strange, but the next step had been made towards the modern electric guitar. The first guitar successfully produced in large numbers was made in 1950 by Leo Fender. His Spanish-style electric guitar, known as a Fender Broadcaster, had a bolt-on neck and was initially criticized by competitors as being very simple and lacking in craftsmanship. Yet it was immediately successful and was particularly suited to mass production, spurring other guitar companies to follow Fender's lead.
How was it? Difficult? Yes. Very, very difficult. Darina, how many of them did you manage to do? Exercise 5, that is your homework. on the page 90, madam? No, on the page 89. Are the adjectives and adverbs of opinion 1 to 10 positive or negative? Write P for positive, N for negative next to each one. Maybe you know some of them, maybe there are some new words for you. And exercise 7 on the page 92, that is also homework, leveling in math. We have learned many words related to math. I think it is not difficult for you. And also last one, exam practice. That is all.